together it's going to be better because we're going to have 2, 3, 4 minds going at it versus just one. And it's like, we like winning with people that are winning. Get in those groups and you'll find, for me, I've had successful years, but I've had, like, in the last 2 years, I've made some of the most amount I've ever made.
That's Mark and Adam, two guys who don't talk about business, they build it.
This episode is all about getting in the right rooms, because doing it alone will only get you so far.
If you have that mindset, which a lot of people have that until they get in the right room, but if they have that mindset, they're stuck. The only thing I could tell you is you get in one. Just be very careful. Information is important, but far more important is where that information does get from.
America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
Blue Collar Millionaires back again. Chris, still got our guests, Mark and Adam here too. We want to talk about, I know Adam and Mark are both in Dealmaker family and Mastermind, and I've been in a few years. Chris is in it as well. What's your experience about it, Adam? I know you've been around just, even maybe not even just Masterminds, at my different people, high-level people for a long time.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, right? So the way I look at it is, one, I love my high school friends. If you're out there, you know who you are. I appreciate them, and we had a lot in common, but right now we probably don't. And I think masterminds, the way I like to kind of explain it is, it was like when the internet came out, right? You finally were able to, without broadband, with the old dial-up, you're able to at least communicate with someone across town or across state lines, right? That had a similar interest. But then when the broadband came out, you were literally able to find someone that was building a blue-collar business that was just as motivated as you are, that's just this X, Y, and Z, and you're actually able to connect with them through video, right? What the mastermind does is, and there's a lot of them. I hate the term mastermind at this point. Some of the, my favorites are the, for obviously for the quality reasons, the Blue Collar Millionaire, the DM Family, or Alliance. Those are the better ones in my opinion, because they have people actually doing, right? Not just like teaching and making the money off the teaching. It's the actual doing part, but it just allows you to really get around other people that, come hell or high water, they're going to be holding you accountable. Like, I'm not going to show up, in 2 or 3 months. And truth be told, if I do show up and I have an issue, someone in there is more than likely solved it, or someone in there more than likely has an opportunity for me, right? Because I feel like a lot of people, you're out there, you're kind of like, what's going on? Maybe you're working as an employee, or maybe you're running a company, your boss's company, and you're like, hey, what's that next step look like? Well, take the shortcut. Go talk to 2 guys that literally are building businesses. Don't put your resume out there on the internet. Like, who do you think you're going to attract? Get in those groups and you'll find, for me, I've had successful years, but I've had, like, in the last 2 years, I've made some of the most amount I've ever made. It was only because of the relationship capital I built in there. It wasn't like, is Adam going to do the work? Like, no, of course he's going to do the work. We're going to probably have to slow him down, that type of thing. So I think it's just getting out there and doing that, and getting over that little fear of, it's going to cost me. No, it's not. It's what's going to cost you if you don't. Yeah. Like, you're making a decision either way, whether you want to admit it or not.
I think that's the problem, is there's most people that's never experienced the masterminding, since that's the key word that most people use, is they see it as a cost. And it's not a cost. It's an investment in yourself. Me and Kevin are partners with Blue Collar Millionaire only because of a mastermind.
Right.
And that started with me paying a $10,000 ticket to get on a jet that I had no reason to be on. I wasn't at that level. $10,000 was a lot of money for me, and it stuck me on a jet. It got me FaceTime with the people that were on that jet, and most of them were probably not in my position where $10,000 was like, oof, all right, this is 10 grand. I hope this is not a waste of time and money. But I got on there. And I remember walking in and telling my wife, hey, I just bought a plane ticket. I need you to reroute this plane ticket over to this airport, this private airport, so I get on this jet to fly to where I was trying to go. And, oh, by the way, it was $10,000 to do it. And she just kind of looked at me like, really? And I said, I believe this 10,000 could very well turn into 10 million because of the relationship. And I said, I don't know how or when. Well, then I end up getting from that same person that was on that jet that hosted it, ends up linking me up with Kevin, because Kevin said, hey, what do you think about this idea? I'm thinking about doing this and I would like to do it with someone. Then because of that connection, then I got into the whole merger and acquisition stream in education and ended up buying 2 different businesses. And you look at that domino effect, and it wasn't the mastermind. It was the fact that I was willing to bet on myself and stick myself in the room with relationship capital. And then people like to do things with people that are doers.
Yeah, and I really think when people look at like cost, they go, "I'm a taker." Am I going to take $10,000 out of it? No. Well, if you're a giver, right? I know if I'm putting myself in a room, and I mean, I've been around, luckily, some very successful people that I've never even picked. They've literally came to me and said, "What can I do for you?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Nothing." And these are people that would like have to go in hiding because so many people are, begging them for anything.
Yeah.
So, my approach has always been, even like any of the business ventures, like, let me just show you what I can do. Don't forget about the money. Give me 90 days. We'll talk, so I know that that the hook's going to be in there in 90 days. Like, well, now you need me. Right. But, it's just always, if you have an opportunity, the only thing I could tell you is you get one. Just be very careful. Information is important, but far more important is where that information does get from.
I agree with what you said before. Is I want to make sure people are doing it. You look at what we're in. Mark is slowly doing lots of stuff. He just has this, and Chris and I, I've made a post yesterday about how many business and stuff. All these people are messing with me. You teaching that and everything. It's like I just got so many. If it was 1 hour a week like that, I'll give you everything I have. But I can't be doing one-on-one stuff. I'm too busy doing it. So when I see these people, Chris and I have come across them. We get introduced, and like that's their whole gig. It is like, and then you kind of look deep, and you're like, what did they? I don't even know what they did.
That's the guru. Guru is really not a bad word, but it's been turned into a mouth.
You're teaching them too, right? So if they're looking for a lot of one-on-one time, it's like, well, do you know what this world looks like? You really want me to teach you how to get people to demand your one-on-one time? I love people that train in groups, right?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, you're going to teach me how to train in groups because I'm not going to sit down there and spend one-on-one time unless you've proven it, unless you've got to that point,
Well, that time, it's so valuable too. That one-on-one time, like to take your time and do that when you're already, like you guys are, especially in your group, like you feed more information in that group than any other group I've seen. So, and it's like you're just giving this information out. And then obviously there's a cost to your other group, which is like even better stuff. And you're probably even working deals in that group. I'm assuming, but it's like to say one-on-one with someone, and then you have 100 people coming at you a week. Like it's a new job. It's a new job. And then, who out of those 100 people, you might have one that's a absolute shark killer that wants to execute.
exactly.
So, and then, as entrepreneurs, why we all attract to each other is we're all family. Like we all have other stuff going on that are key things in our life that like to pull away from and say, hey, okay, I'm going to take an hour of my day to come meet with you. So when you give that time and then it's not respected, it's always hard. But like you guys give a lot of stuff and a lot of nuggets in that group. I constantly see it, and it's like, man,
That's what made it grow.
oh, absolutely.
It became a resource. And what's really awesome is now a lot of the community pitches in as a resource as well. It's gotten so large, and you've got people like Brian Gottlieb and Ken Goodrich, and there are many others. Those are the 2 most recent we were around, so they're coming to my head. But yeah, I mean, they just drop knowledge in there, and so it's creepy.
Do you know how many of my hometown friends are in that group that they don't even know that I know you guys?
So I met a guy at the airport today. I had my hoodie on, and he saw the emblem, and I could feel him staring at me, but I didn't acknowledge because I got my mouth full of Chick-fil-A breakfast. And so he starts to approach me, so I look up, and he said, "Where'd you get that from?" And I said, "I'm one of the founders of it." And he goes, "No kidding." He said, "Dude, I just joined there. I'm not blue collar, I'm white collar, but I am so intrigued with all the information that's in there. That is insane." And I was like, man, it's just amazing how you would meet someone. And this was in Memphis, Tennessee, like my little airport that I have to drive 2 hours to just so I can get to a respectable one to get down to here. It's so crazy. It was pretty awesome.
It's wild. I had a guy who was doing fixing my food at Chipotle, and he knew who I was. I had this thing. He's like, I know him in your group. He started asking me questions. It was weird.
That is weird, but it's cool, right?
Man, it's cool when he was cool as I started talking.
And there's a lot of groups on Facebook that like you wouldn't know who runs the group.
Yeah.
Like you would never remember. Your guys' group's so active. And again, it's because you guys, it's like the whole giving muscle thing too, like that we're all a part of. But like you guys are constantly giving these nuggets and information and keeping the content going, and it's just keeping people engaged. But it's like that's just who you guys are. So it's really cool to see that.
One thing I see about these groups, and you guys are in business together, we're in business, we can all be in person, we're all doing stuff together. It's when guys are doing really small time stuff, they have that, like, they want to have that entire grade. They're doing 300 grand revenue and like they don't want to give a bonus or anything. They never get anywhere. And what I find is the guys who are doing a lot, they're like Mark will just shoot a text and, hey, I got this idea. You want to get in on this? Like you had the roofing deal and different stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, and
Like can do it.
It's power in numbers.
Yeah, we together we could do it more.
together it's going to be better because we're going to have 2, 3, 4 minds going at it versus just one. And it's like we like winning with people that are winning, and that like we value and trust and all that. Yeah, absolutely. We were just on the yacht with Mark and a group of guys. What was that? It was this week, and just a lot of those conversations are guys. Not like they're not being greedy or anything, but they're at a level where they're just kind of stuck and they're doing everything that they like. One of the guys, I think he's in the Alliance. Yeah, he is. But he basically 5-star reviews, got all these hundreds of 5-star reviews. He's just working and doing all this stuff. And it's like, it's really simple. It's like you replace yourself, then replace yourself again. Don't worry about it being 100%. Because it's never going to be 100%.
That's a fact right there.
Exactly. It's like you're either a slave and you're 100%, or you're not a slave and you create opportunity for other key people and keep creating more opportunity and like actually give people a career. And then maybe your business operates at 70%. But that's okay, because like now you're able to actually live a life. And so are these people, and you're giving them that. It's like, but it's so hard for people to get around that whole concept of like, working with others or just relinquishing control of everything and like giving someone else, that control.
I like that. So I tell that to guys when they don't want to let go of the reins. I say, they're never going to do it as good as you. Just get that through your head. It's okay. If they do it 75, 80% and you get 12 of them, that's a real business. And the people you're doing the work for, they understand that. They're used to it. That's every business.
You think,
and even the guy who thinks he's 100%, he's not anyway. He's making mistakes. I just won't admit it.
The customers normally don't ever see the gap, that delta of 25, 30% anyway. Yeah. Like it's all noticed. They just know.
Of course.
Well, and you can really build the foundation. Again, it's just, you're constantly just duplicating. It's like even in our review, dude, like we're 5-star reviews with hundreds of reviews. I haven't had an office over there in 3 years. And there's mistakes that happen. But the key is like they know if a mistake happens and it's our fault, we always take care of it. It doesn't matter the cost. Yeah. Like we always will handle that and make sure the customers take care of. If it's their fault, or something happens on their end or they don't pay us, like we don't mess around with that. Like we'll slap a lien on somebody's house in a heartbeat, whether he gives us a bad review or not, because it's a business. But like there's SOPs, there's operational, structure to the business that like I'm okay with if like we're not 5-star. I want to be 5-star, and like we strive for that. But like mistakes happen. I'm not 100%. They're not 100% business. But like you got to be okay with like letting go of that to be able to actually grow a company. So, and a lot of people just get caught up in that, and they get stuck in like, I got to control everything. If this, I got to answer that phone call. You're not going to talk to that person as good. You can't sell as good as I can, right? Like the owner's 100% close ratio. Yeah. I close 100%. I'm 99%. Well, of course you are. Yeah. You're the owner, right? Most of the leads are probably referrals,
Yeah.
But it's like getting past that kind of stuff. Like if you have that mindset, which a lot of people have that until they get in the right room, but if they have that mindset, they're stuck. And then it's like, that's where most people just get stuck. And then they never get past the next step, so.
I had somebody ask me one time, what do you get from that group that allows you that makes you think it's valuable enough to be paying a few $1,000s a month? And I said, dude, every time I get on a phone call and I listen to the guy leading it or the people that's in that group, my frame gets broken and my belief systems change. If I'm the guy that's doing it all, and then I see you and I understand a little bit of your model and what you're doing, and then you tell me it's okay to be 70%, not always 100%, my belief system just broke and my frame expanded and now I'm able to grow. And that's what it's about. And that's why you try to hop on, at least the ones that we're in are doing weekly Zooms. You hop on the weekly Zoom because it itches you further a little bit every single time.
Well, and when you're paying for it, you're listening.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a free room a lot of times, it's there, yeah.
It's $99 a month.
Yeah, but when you start actually paying like thousands of dollars, you're listening, and it's always funny where it's like, because I've obviously introduced a few people into the alliance, and want people to come in and keep growing that the right people, but even the right people sometimes are like, man, that's not a month or whatever it is, and I can't really afford that, and it's like that's so the wrong question. Yeah, it's like how can I afford a $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 more a month? How do I afford that to be in that group? Because I know that return. Because again, it's like if you look at it like what Adam said, it's like you come into a group, and the return is you being able to give value to somebody else, and then the opportunity coming from the value that you're bringing, and it's just full circle, right? But like you're going to learn so much, but you're also probably going to help someone else that's maybe at a lower point than you are. So, but it's like, it's always the fact of like, I can't afford that. So the wrong question.
There was a guy who came to one of our dinners, and he was going to go into the $50,000 group, and he was talking to me about it and asking questions, and he was trying to figure out the ROI and all kinds of stuff. I said, yeah, don't worry about it. I said, because he's a high level guy. I said, if you just go, be you show up on the calls, you go to the events, just do your thing. Don't think about it. Just do that for 2-3 years. You'll make it so much more.
Oh yeah.
Back. But he couldn't get, he was trying to think of like the return on him, or you do that. We all know guys, we've seen guys come for a year or whatever. We have another thing. They come in and they get out. They're like trying.
How do you calculate the return of being able to sit there and say, hey, Adam, would you come on to the Boardroom Elite and talk about what you're doing with AI? Or, hey, Mark, would you come on and explain how your journey looked from founder of the roofing company to being so many millions in revenue to where you could sell if you wanted to sell at a snap of a finger? I mean, that relationship capital doesn't happen unless you're in the room, and it gives you an excuse to build it way faster than what we ever would build as entrepreneurs. I don't see people outside of these groups as often as I see the people in the groups. There's a reason to show up every single Thursday. There's a reason to show up to the DM Alliance. And I'm sitting there and I'm I'm seeing who's on the screen. Sometimes I'll get somebody over there and they'll shoot me a text and they're like, hey, stop grinning on the, and so we just have a little banter back and forth, but those relationships are growing at a higher acceleration.
And I think the key that you just said is they're shooting you a text. Like I don't answer calls if someone's not in a group. Like I really won't, unless it's like, like someone's like, who the hell's calling me?
Yeah. Well, it's just you're opening up the roofing division on your company, and you just tell Mark like how else you would talk to him about it.
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah, now it would be an open book. Like I do it. Just like,
we're together tonight. That's when he can tell you.
yeah, or Sean, he's called you multiple times. I'm like, dude, do this, because you're in the group, right? And I enjoy the conversation with someone that wants to do it.
Yeah. I love helping people. People be like, hey man, and the message off Blue Collar Millionaire, hey man, I know you're busy. I don't want to take much of your time. And then just bomb it like 19 paragraphs on me. Like, I'm like, got my kid and we're playing Legos. Like, I can't read this and try to figure this out. But if they say, hey, I'm in DM Alliance and they ask me, I'll answer you.
Yeah, and that's
just call me, man.
That's the key too, is like you could be, I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times it's happened when we're actually personally up all the guys together, but like I could be like Adam, or anyone, I could be like, man, I need a guy for funding. I'm trying to fund this deal. And then all of a sudden you got 3 guys that are like, oh, you call this guy, call this.
Yeah.
And then your funding problems, it's not even there anymore now. Which that is a key thing of like, you're in that group and this information is so valuable.
And before you know it, you're in a group text with that guy. Like you just did it with your tax guy.
Right.
Put him an email and he responds. Otherwise, he's too busy. You could. Absolutely. So somebody was just asking me today. I don't know him. Somebody knows somebody else I know about an accountant. I don't want to. I don't want. I'm going to bug gains.
Yeah.
But if somebody into the deal maker, yeah, of course, we'll have to connect you.
Takeaway is invest in yourself. Don't worry about the ROI because relationship capital is not able to be calculated. And get in the room. Otherwise, you're just be okay with being mediocre and it taking you the average 50 years to see a massive amount of success.
Speeding up.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Since we got dinner tonight, Fort Lauderdale, guys. We'll probably do this or a private dinner.
Appreciate y'all coming by.
Yeah.
Thanks.